Okay, let's talk about solar setup, solar charge controller, lithium batteries, and inverter. You can see on top of this rig, I've got 1, 2, 3, 8 panels. There's an extra one up front. Those are 8 big panels. I think it puts out something like 1900 watts or something. I've got them linked together in series in sets of 2, and I think that's for a 48 volt setup. And so yeah, we have a lot of power. I can put out 100 amps, which is nuts. These things are crazy. So first of all, solar panels, I got these off of Craigslist. Some guy got them from who knows where. They're just cheap solar panels. I got them for 1,500 bucks, and he never used them for a project, and so I got them, and it's really not hard to put these together and understand how they go. There's a combiner box, if you can see in the middle. There's that only like tannish box there. That's where all of the lines from the panels kind of plug into that box, and then it goes down through the RV. Yes, I had to drill a hole in the center of my RV. So if you have a really nice RV, yeah, you gotta drill a hole in it. So, okay, I'll take you down. You saw the solar panels, and you saw the combiner box. Now, once all that power goes down into the RV, it's gotta go into what's called a solar charge controller. That solar charge controller, the one I bought, is off of alibaba.com, and it can handle a whole range of voltages and amperages. I needed one that could handle up to 100 amps because I got so much amperage coming in off those panels. So here's what mine looks like. Oops, here we go. Okay, so this is the solar charge controller. The guts of this are just like any US made one, but this whole thing is half the cost, like half. So I know I love made in the USA things. I love the quality of made in the USA things. This is a made in China thing, but everything made in the USA is really assembled in the USA, and all the guts are made in China anyway. So I'm fine with cutting out the brokers and the middlemen and taking that profit and put it in my pocket. Right now, this is showing me that my batteries are at 100%. They're floating at 13.6 volts. Right now, it's only taking in 1.9 amps at 25 watts. I've got a 48 volt system, but right now there's a potential of up to 64. The key here with solar is just because your panels have like a nominal rating of 12 volts or 24 volts or 48 volts or whatever it is, they have the potential in high direct sun to put out more than that. So make sure you get a solar charge controller that can handle greater than what's called the nominal voltage, or the average voltage that your panels will put out. It'll have a maximum voltage rating on those panels too. Like if your panels put out 12 volts, maybe the max might be 21. You know, it can put out a lot of voltage. So just make sure you get something that'll handle that much voltage, and this unit can handle that. There's also a plug-in underneath here. I can plug in my computer. I can get graphs off of this. I can track how much sun it's putting out. There's a battery temperature sensor. There's all kinds of interesting things with this, and it's, again, half the price of anything you can get in the US. So I would say in this case, don't be afraid of Chinese product. It's the same thing. It's excellent. Now, we've got our power coming in from the panels. We've got the power coming down to this solar charge controller here. Now, where does it go? So we'll talk about batteries. A lot of you have flooded lead acid batteries. Cheapest thing on the market, super freaking heavy, and don't quite have a lot of capacity. Because we boondock so much at schools for the hovercraft project, I'm rarely plugged in. You know, if I'm plugged in once on the weekend, the other 6 days I'm boondocking all over the place. So I have to have enough power coming in. I hate running the generator all the time. You know, I want to be as eco-friendly as possible in something that gets 7 miles to the gallon. I don't like that generator. So if I can get away from using it, I will. So I've gone with lithium batteries. Now, the lithium batteries I bought are the same thing that you'll see in the US manufacturers. You can get a 100 amp hour lithium battery in the US for $1,000. This was 2 years ago when I bought mine. The ones I bought are the same battery, 100 amp hour, 5-year warranties, excellent batteries, half the cost. 500 bucks shipped to my door from China. Yes, you have to talk to people in China, but it's doable, and they're awesome batteries. In this case, if you don't mind talking to somebody overseas and sending money to somebody overseas that you have never done business with before, I've taken the risk. It's paid off for me. It works great. So, in my opinion, don't be worried. So lithium batteries were great. I'll try and show you mine just a little bit here, but it's kind of dark down there. So my lithium batteries are right here. You can see 100 amp hour. They're 12 volt. It says deep cycle, but I think it's just a Chinese marketing thing. It's a full-on lithium battery, and there's also a top display telling you the voltage and how full it is in percent. So I love these batteries. I've got 8 100 amp hour batteries because I wanted the ability to swap one out if I needed to. You can get them in 200 amp hour sections, 400 amp hour section. You can get huge batteries custom made for you if you really want to, for pretty inexpensively. But the standard one is just 100 amp hour. I bought 8 of them. I've got 800 amp hours. I've got about 1900 watts of solar, and I've got that solar charge controller. And for a family of 4, it's me, my wife, and 2 daughters, full timing basically for 6 months at a time. It runs everything. We rarely have to run our generator unless we're in the middle of New York and it's been cloudy for 3 days. So before, with the lead acids, I only had like probably 200 amp hours of lead acid. It went dead a lot, and we were running the generator all the time. And that vibration all night drives us nuts. So I decided to go full on solar. I've got probably $6,000 into the entire solar setup. But you could have spent $10,000, $12,000 on what I've done if you decide to go all U.S. manufacturer. And if you want to do that, great. I think you'd be handing profit to somebody else. If you want to support that, great. I want that profit in my pocket, so I went to the Chinese manufacturer of those U.S. products and went direct with them. So that's my decision. We don't make a ton of money, so I got to save it where I can. And this setup works really well. So I recommend fitting as much solar on your roof as you can. I recommend, oh yes, I forgot. I recommend the charge controller. I recommend lithium batteries, LiFePO4, lithium iron phosphate batteries. Very stable. No, they're not going to burn like what you think you've seen. Do some research. LiFePO4, lithium iron phosphate. Last thing. Once we have all this battery power, sometimes we got to turn it into AC, right? Alternating current, like your house power. So I bought this. This is a 4,000 watt inverter charger. What that means is it'll take all my battery power, there's 4 more of these batteries, and it'll run it through this, and it will invert it into AC. DC power changes to AC like house power, so you can run your blender and stuff. 4,000 watts gives me plenty of power. That thing's really heavy, but it's worth every penny. Also a Chinese made thing. You can get this thing for, I believe I paid $7.99, 800 bucks for this thing shipped to my door. But the American version of this might be $3,500 for even less wattage. So, I mean, I got this way better price than you could find in the US for the US manufacturers. I highly recommend this. The downside of this is when it's on, the fan is running all the time, even if it's not inverting anything. Just so you know, you will have noise coming from this all the time. It's not super loud, it's just like background white noise, but sigineer, way cheaper, a little bit noisier. I think the US manufacturers have that fan turn off when it's not actually doing any inversion. So this is also an integrated 115 amp charger. So if I'm not inverting AC, I can take the shore power and then run it through this and change AC to DC to charge these batteries. So you see how it goes 2 ways? DC to AC, run your blender. Or shore power through this thing to charge your batteries. That's why it's called an inverter charger. It can do both things. So awesome unit, I recommend it, and yeah, I love it. It also has a remote panel, so I don't have to bend down all the time. There's this panel right here. This panel gives me my battery status, whether it's inverting, charging. You know, it's on the inversion mode right now. If I need to go to charging mode, I can flip a switch and I can make it go into charging mode. When this goes into charging mode, it'll say online. It usually takes a minute, but you can see my input AC. You can see the battery right now, and you can see the output load's using 38% because here we just went to online. This is now in the charging state. It's charging the batteries since I'm plugged into the house. If I change this back, now we've gone to inverter. This is at 37% because I have this set up to charge my hot water, which is a whole different deal. But my hot water heater is heated off my solar power. How awesome is that, right? I've got a separate 600 watt element in the hot water heater, and whenever there's excess power coming off those panels and my batteries are full, it starts heating up the water. So it takes that excess power and uses it. Awesome, very mucho awesome. I love everything about it. So that's the cheapest way to go. If you got any questions, I'll try to read the comments and give you the best answers I got. But get on Alibaba, start doing some research. You can save a lot of money. So I think that's it for now. I'll talk to you later. Bye.